So basically, this is a short story written in 1973. It's a short philosophical fiction written by Ursula Le Guin. And basically, yeah, here it is. It's a narrator's depiction of a summer festival in the utopian city of Omelas, whose prosperity depends on the perpetual misery of a single child. So again, I am giving away the whole point of the story. It's basically a utopian society where everything is pretty much perfect in every way that you can possibly conceive. It's, you just can't even imagine, things being better. Except that the twist at the end of the story is that you find out that their whole entire existence in the society and the way they are set up is possible only because there is always one child that needs to be kept in abject misery, basically alone, cold, starved, beaten, left in their own urine and waste. It's very graphic. It's a very heart-wrenching depiction, and I encourage everybody to read this. And if the premise is that this society is based upon this happening. If this one totally innocent child was not kept in these conditions, their whole entire way of life and society and everything would basically cease to exist. And it's not kept in secret. That's the key part, is that every single person, when they get to a specific age, and it's in kind of like mid-childhood or whatever, if I remember correctly, every single person living there is shown the child, so they know about it. It's not in, some locked away thing. I mean, the kid is locked away in a basement, but everybody knows about it. And they're all shown the kid. And the whole point of the story is that at the end, there are some people who inexplicably choose to walk away from this society, and they do not partake. They don't want to live in that perfect world anymore if it means that it comes at the expense of that one kid.
Let's first consider killing animals in survival situations. It wouldn't be a continuous thing, but it would still be subjecting an innocent sentient being to misery, torture, suffering, and death for benefit of someone else.
What this really means is that even if every single other person living, being, whatever, existed, because you could maintain that, you could save them, quote unquote, you could do whatever, through the abject misery, torture, suffering, death, killing, whatever you want to say, whatever horrible thing you want to say on one innocent person, is that really ethical? And the answer is obviously not. It's obviously not. And I think if you read this and truly live that, thought through your mind and let it go, you're going to come to the same conclusion. You wouldn't do it yourself. You would leave Omelas. I would walk away. There's no way. In fact, I would probably try to help, even if it meant the collapse and destruction of the entire civilization, maybe the death of everyone. That is just wrong.
In the scenario he was talking about, where society flourishes on the suffering of a child, he wouldn't be a part of it. He would perhaps help the child, even though that will bring collapse of the society and death to everyone. I think we can conclude the same thing for killing animals out of survival. That's wrong, and he shouldn't be a part of it, even if that meant his death, or death of everyone and collapse of society. We can use the same reasoning for crop and other kind of animal deaths that we cause. Survival and flourishment of society relies on negatively affecting animals. We bring death and suffering to not just one, but to countless innocent animals, so we could live and enjoy our lives, instead of one continuously receiving all of the negative things. There is a continuous process of just replacing victims and adding to the number. So it could be argued, those who would walk away from Omelas would have to walk away from any and all societies which survive on misery, torture, suffering, or death of animals. This vegan used the story in her activism, but I'm curious how would she respond to my arguments. In a matter of fact, she already expressed what she thinks about survival and health.
So another kind of part of the vegan definition is that it's to reduce animal suffering as far as practicable and possible. So if you're in a situation where you don't have access to other foods, then you can morally justify taking an animal's life to survive.
When it comes to crop and other kind of deaths, I presume she wouldn't care. She doesn't even think that production of plant-based products she consumes and generally existence of society harm animals.
So I'll just end on this note. You do not live in China. Every day you have the ability to either harm animals or not harm animals. I'm saying if you don't have to harm animals, why continue to do it?
Seemingly, she wouldn't be one of those who walk away. Vegans who are threshold deontologists would have a weird stance on it. They would be the ones who walk away because rights violations and whatnot. But if something threshold, they would go back, despite there being the same right violations which made them to walk away in the first place. In conclusion, this seems to be one of those things vegans like to say or use, but it comes back to bite them in the ass.